Lesson 3, the big one, calories. This is the one that everyone likes to debate on and talk about and pull apart. And there's more context around calories that needs to be had before you just dive in straight on calories. Because guess what? Calories are king. Calories are at the base of the pyramid, just above consistency, because you have to be able to keep doing it in order to see progress. And then right above that, calories mean more than anything else. So you don't gain fat from bad food. You gain fat from a bad average. What is a calorie? Calories are how we measure what's coming in. We use it as a unit of measurement. Think of it like miles in a car on a road trip. If you have to drive 300 miles on a road trip, some of those miles are on the freeway, some of them are going around winds, uphills, downhills, all that stuff. They're different. Same thing with calories, okay? Calories are a unit of measurement, and yes, calories are different. And we're going to break that down as well, but calories are just a unit, okay? Just a unit. Bigger humans need more, smaller humans need less. It's not good or bad. It just has to match you, okay? Little diagram there of the average human needs average calories, a large human needs more, and a smaller human needs less. That is it. So why calorie balance matters. Now, a calorie deficit means you are eating less calories than you require, than your body requires to maintain its current size. That equals weight loss, which means you are becoming a smaller human. A calorie surplus means you are consuming more calories than your body needs, and you are gaining weight. You are becoming a larger human. And then maintenance is balance, and you're just staying the same size human. That kind of makes sense. So what does our body actually do with calories? Now, there might be some mind-blowing stuff on here. So there's a lot of information. I'm going to break it down. So your body burns calories even when you're doing nothing. It actually burns the most calories when you're doing nothing, just to stay alive. So your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure. It's how many calories your body uses each day just to live, move, digest food, and exercise and recover. This is why calorie needs vary. So we got this little graph on the side of the screen here. Now, this would be your 100%. That's total daily calories that you burn in a day. That's what's going out. That's what you need to burn to do the things required here. So around 70%, all of these vary by 10% or so, give or take, up or down. Yeah, more like 5. But 70% is your basal metabolic rate. So if you just laid in bed and you're on bed rest, this is how many calories you'd have to pump into you to keep your body kind of the same size. Okay, so that's what's needed to keep your body alive. Now, above that, we have your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Okay, so that's a big fancy word to say all of the movement you do during the day that is not exercise. So that could be chores, that could be walking, that could be just going around your house, that could be playing with your kids, your dogs, everything in the grocery store, how far you walk your car, picking things up, putting things down, depending on what kind of job you have. That is all non-exercise activity. Okay, and your body needs a lot of calories to do that because that's the other, let's say 16 hours you're awake. Now, this one is cool. So TEF, I don't think that's a thing. Thermic effect of food is around 10% your daily calorie usage. So that's how much energy your body uses on the food you eat to digest it. Now, I'm sure you're already thinking, is that all food? Well, if a food has more nutrients, more fiber, more protein, which we'll dive into that, it takes more to digest it. So you actually burn more calories from eating those more known whole foods than you would from eating processed foods. So that's something to consider as well. Because above that, something that's only half the thermic effect of the food you eat is your exercise. Okay? So at most, if you're working out for like an hour a day, that's about 5% your total daily calories. And you can maybe train for like 2 hours, and at most that would probably be 10%. Okay. Elite level athletes who are training multiple sessions a day, multiple hours, that's where it would vary, but they're different. That's all they do. Their NEAT is nothing but exercise. So exercise is not the way to burn more calories, as you can see from there. You burn twice as many calories just from digesting food. Okay. And the movement you get throughout the day is way more important when it comes to total calorie burn than the exercise you do by threefold. So stop trying to kill yourself with new exercise programs to burn calories, because that's not how it works. Please. Why consistency in calories matters? Because it's not about being perfect, but it is about being consistent. So 1 pound of fat mass equals about 3,500 calories. Okay, that's everyone. That's just a pound of fat on your body, or just a pound of fat in general, is 3,500 calories. So that's how much it takes, no matter who you are, to gain or lose. Okay? Eat 3,500 calories less, you will burn a pound of fat. Consume 3,500 calories more, you will gain a pound of fat. It's just, that's the unit of measurement. Eating just an average of 100 extra calories a day can equal about 10 pounds of fat gained in a year. And if you've looked at labels, 100 extra calories is something that happens without even thinking about it. And that's why consistency matters so much, because that's how a year or two goes by and you put on 20, 30 pounds. And it wasn't that you were consistently eating a lot more, just your average went up by that much. So eating an average of 100 fewer calories a day, you can also lose 10 pounds in a year. Most of us are surrounded by tasty food that we want to eat all the time or have very easy access to it. So that's more unlikely, but that is important. So slight overeating on weekends can erase your entire weekday progress, because if that weekend brings up your average, that's how you gain weight, even though you feel like you're sacrificing. So why consistency in calories matters? This is what it looks like. This is that weekend. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you are perfect. You are on plan. You are tracking your macros. You are doing great. And then the weekend comes around. It's Friday and you go out to eat. You have some drinks and you only go 700 calories above, which doesn't sound like that much, because 700 calories is the equivalent of an extra piece of pizza and like an average beer, or I could be off on that, but it's not much. It doesn't take much, especially if you're around the indulgent food and start letting things slip a little bit. And then Saturday, you wake up, you don't feel great from Friday morning, or you're going to go out to breakfast with the family, and you just want to enjoy yourself. So you have a big breakfast and then you come home, you do all your normal stuff, and then you have your family dinner or your friends or something comes up, and boom, 2 meals there that at each meal you ate 550 calories extra, which could just be a couple drinks, an extra dessert, something. It's not that big. That would bring your average weekly calories up to 2250, which doesn't sound like that much in terms of your calorie goal being 2000, but that's a pound of weight gain in the month. And that's why this is so important, because you don't lose fat by guessing. And if you're trying to guess, or you're not tracking, or you don't have a good framework to fall back on, things like this happen and you feel like you're going insane because you're killing yourself. Because Saturday ends, you're like, boom, Sunday, this is my prep day. I'm going to do everything perfectly. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, I can't wait till the weekend. And then you blow it out of the water. And you didn't even blow it out that much. It's just enough for your average to keep you from losing the weight or even adding some weight on. Guessing isn't a strategy. Awareness first, and then you can get to the intuition, the intuitive eating. So tracking is a helpful tool to help you create awareness. It's not forever. You shouldn't track forever. You shouldn't think like you have to track forever. But it is a tool that helps you learn awareness, even short-term or intermittently. Or you follow a meal plan where someone else already did the thinking for you. They already know your goals and targets, and they just guide you along the way, because you can't be bothered to learn all of the nuance with tracking, because it is hard and it takes a long time. And I've been doing this a long time and I still find things that I mess up tracking. Again, it's impossible to be perfect, but you learn along the way. So once we get a little bit of awareness, you can kind of think of it like driving. In the beginning, you don't drive intuitively until you learn the rules, the signs, and how the car works. Nutrition works the same way. You need to learn the information. You need to practice and repeat the actions through tracking or a meal plan, something to keep you consistent. And then you can trust your instincts. So it goes awareness, structure, then intuition. Okay, because intuitive eating is great. It sounds amazing. It's an awesome thing to aim for. That's what we should all be going for, is how to eat freely and have enough information to make choices that work with your health, not against it. We need to learn first. We need to practice the reps. We need to get better. You're probably eating more than you think. And the first couple times you track it, if you're completely honest and you don't let things slip, if you were to just track your daily intake, it's surprising where the calories are. So most people underestimate their intake by 20 to 40%. So fun fact, the average American thinks they eat around 2,000 to 2,200 calories a day. But when they were actually followed and tracked and all that stuff in the study, their intake was closer to 3,600 calories or more per day. That's 1,500 more calories, visible calories, things that they didn't see or didn't track, than they thought they were consuming. And that comes from liquid calories, drinks, sodas, stuff like that, bites, snacks to eat, sauces, takeout, social eating, all of that stuff. Now, all of that to say you don't need to obsess, but you do need to be honest. Honesty is huge in this, and it's really easy to let things slip. And it's a little unsettling when you try to be completely honest with yourself and you notice how many little things start slipping through the cracks. And it's not that you're necessarily lying to yourself. It's just that you were never intentionally being honest about this stuff. So invisible calories come in all shapes and forms. And here are some major ones that I notice with people is their coffee drink. Okay. Even if it just has some cream in it, heavy cream is a very calorie dense source, and that's an extra 100 to 200 calories right there. Tasty snacks, those couple handfuls where you're still trying to decide if you're going to eat the bag of potato chips. I know I'm guilty of that, is that you just take it out, you eat a couple, and then you're like, yeah, I'll eat some. And it's like, okay, boom. Those things add up. fast food, takeout, there's always more calories in those than we wish, and you're still hungry afterwards, and it's terrible. They are tasty, and that's the problem, is that they're hyper palatable, extremely calorie dense, and it leaves you just wanting more after. Cooking oil, this is a big one. If you've never paid attention to how much oil or butter you put in the pan when you cook, all of those calories go into your food, but they don't necessarily add anything to the food. And so when you do that, you're just throwing in an extra 100-200 calories per meal without even knowing. And so paying attention to how much cooking oil you use is a really easy way to cut out calories without sacrificing any kind of taste or having to change anything. Just start paying attention to that. Late night sweet tooth, that's very common. There's a lot of different ways to get over it, but if you have the ice cream in the fridge, my experience is that I will eat the ice cream. So having things in the house when it's nighttime and you just have an hour alone and you're like, I'm gonna go for a sweet treat, those creep up. Alcohol, that one's super common. Just your average alcoholic drink is at least 150 calories. If you have the lighter ones, it's 100 calories, but those add up. Cravings, this is again the small handfuls of things you buy and just snack on throughout the day. And then the big one is sauces and condiments, because most sauces that taste good because they're very fat and rich, and they're just calorie dense. There's a lot of low calorie sauces out there. Just usually the tastiest one is the one with the most calories. All right, one of my favorites, good versus bad food. There is no such thing as bad food. There is not. It's not poison. It's not evil people trying to work against you. There's not bad food. Okay, they're context dependent. You have to ask yourself, does this support my goal right now? It's about how much, how often, and why. Now, you can rationalize that you shouldn't eat any of the stuff that's processed, whatever. I'm not trying to win that fight. I'm trying to get people to understand how to do this in the context of their life. And you should never feel guilty about the food you eat, ever. And the foods that are super tasty, they're super tasty for a reason. And so they're not bad, and you shouldn't have to cut them out forever. You should just understand how to work them into your diet. Okay, so now the original Oreos, 140 calories for 2 cookies. All right, apples, 140 calories for an apple and a half. Now, I don't know about you guys. I love Oreos. It's probably my favorite sweet treat, or the thing that I have the least self-control over if it's in my cupboards at night. But 2 Oreos, no one stops at 2. You eat 2 Oreos thinking about eating Oreos, and then you eat the entire sleeve with 2 glasses of milk, and then you're like, I need to eat some real food. Okay, so that's a lot of calories. Now, apples, if you were to eat a full apple, like all of it, every last bite of just a normal size apple, you're going to look at the half an apple, you're not going to want it. And that's the big difference, is that there's not a bad food. It's just the Oreos I am going to make a bad choice on, and the apples, it's really hard to make a bad choice. Okay? So neither one is bad, and neither one is necessarily good, but they work towards your goal or away from it. And understanding the context behind why and when just helps you have more control. So you're not saying, I'm not going to have that because it's bad. It's, I'm not going to have that right now because it doesn't support my goal. So calorie recap. Calories are just a unit. Okay, just a unit of measurement. They're not the enemy. Daily activity and whole foods burn far more calories than a workout ever will. Okay, so stop killing yourself in your workouts to burn more calories. Consistency drives change, not extremes, just getting points on the board, doing what you can. And we track to build awareness, not to stay obsessed. And then the final takeaway there is there are no bad foods. Don't ever feel guilty about the food you're eating, just the choices that serve or stall your goals. Okay? So no bad foods, just context dependent. Is this working for me or against me? And then you make a choice. So again, before we move on, the end of calories, what is your biggest takeaway from this section? And what questions did it bring up? There's a lot of information in there, and I know a lot of people have different backgrounds and histories with nutrition and information that they've consumed. And I just want to know, what questions did it bring up? Leave it in a comment, let me know. But I want to see how I can answer the conversation around calories more clearly. So moving on, we will be doing macros next. So we will be breaking down what makes up the calories. Those are your macros, and we'll break those apart and exactly what you need to know.